Twisted.
Three things as a new trainer or instructor that you kind of, you're new to the game and you just don't know what you're really doing. This is kind of this is the three most common mess ups I think that happens. So you're becoming an instructor or a trainer and you get your first student, and this is how you're going to mess up. I'm going to tell you right now, nobody's perfect. We all learn as we go. But some of the most common things is, number one is you yourself don't know the material. So you're going to have to start studying your pre-trip. You're going to have to start studying how to back out there on the training pad. And you're going to have to start breaking down what you do when you drive so somebody else can understand it. So the first step is training yourself, asking for help. Also, you can't forget that. If you're having trouble out there, don't be afraid to ask for help. Now, some trainers get out there, you guys get out there and y'all don't want to ask for help. I watch people all the time and I'm all like, man, I could really go help this guy. And I kick back because I can already tell that they probably don't want the help to begin with. Who am I? I'm nobody. I'm going to tell you what to do with your student. I might be brand new myself. I might mosey over there a little bit and say, hey, what's going on, neighbor? How's it going? Just to check on you, see if you might be like, hey, man, I'm struggling. Like, I need some help. Okay, let me give you some tips here. Let's break it down for you. Now, I always suggest to them, hey, when your students are done for the day, like you send them off for the day or you send them on lunch break, get out here and practice this yourself. I'm not going to teach your student. I will teach you. So I'll run them through the maneuver. I'll have them get in my truck as the student and I'm going to teach them. Now, the next most common thing that people mess up on is they want to be their student's best friend. You have a role and they have a role. They have the role of student taking in everything and learning from it. And you have a role as the authority figure, as the professional in the matter. And what you need to do is stop trying to be your student's friend. And I know that it sounds messed up, but you have to play that role of the teacher. You have to play that role of the one in charge. Somebody has to be in charge. When you're always the one that's laid back and you're like, man, I'm just trying to be cool with my student. I want to be the cool guy. I don't want to be the authority figure. I don't want to be mean. There's going to be a point that you're going to have to be like, hey, look, what you did was unsafe and this is why, this is what's going on. Or maybe, hey, the rules of the truck were this and you didn't follow the rules. Like, man, like, you're being disrespectful in my truck. Wearing your shoes in the back of my truck is highly disrespectful. You just got to set down the base at the start. That comes with setting down rules before y'all even leave. You want to have your rules in place right when you meet the guy. You want to have or girl. You want to have your rules wrote down. You want to be like, hey, this is the rules for the truck. I expect this, and this. Set down the rules, let them know that you're the authority figure. You can always back down from this. Like you start off way up here. Like, here's the rules. Like, day one's conversation should be kind of like, hey, here's the rules. This is what I expect. No phone. Truck on, you're on duty, no phone. Lay down those ground rules. You can always back down from that. And I'll tell you what happens here is you start off as the authority figure and you start off strong. Nobody's going to try to walk over you. And if you do this, like I said, you can back down. What I tend to find out is some of the guys that I had to be the hardest on because they were slacking, they came back and they were like, man, I appreciate what you did, man. You wouldn't let me slack off at all, and it made me buckle down and get it done. And like, I appreciate that. And sometimes those hardest guys that like I had to be hard on, they come back with the best stories ever. Like It's awesome, man. They become friends and they come out and they're like, hey, you remember that time I made you mad and the vape was coming out and like your face was red and you were stomping up to the truck and I was like, oh, I didn't even know what to say. I was like, I was scared, it's funny. I'm not that bad, but the stories are that bad. They over exaggerate them a little bit, but hey, at the end of the day, when you're that authority figure, you're more assertive and they tend to listen more. And, it makes you be more of the professional and somebody they look up to. At the end of their training, now you are equals. And if they want to be your friend from that point, then it's a legitimate friendship. It's not a, hey, you're my trainer, I got to be cool with you. And at the end of the day, you being cool with them or them being cool with you, it doesn't really matter. What matters is, hey, did I teach this guy and make him the safest I can? I have plenty of students that probably couldn't stand me, and they're probably going to drop that in the comments right now. How bad I was like in their experience. But at the end of the day, they know, hey, he got me my CDL. He made me a safer driver. If you want to know how to get me as your trainer, then go ahead and click that link right there. That's going to pop up. And, I am strict. I'm not here to be your friend. And, you guys that are just starting out, new trainers and stuff like that, learn from that. You don't want to make friends, because at that time it's pretty much, hey, I just want to be your friend because you're my trainer. You want to get that end of, hey, he's off my truck. I haven't talked to him in about 3 months. He's out there doing his thing and he calls you up. Hey, what's going on? I'm in town. Can I come see you out there at the pad? That's a real friendship right there. So just keep that in mind. Afterwards, become friends. At the start, be the authority figure. And then the third thing, in my opinion, that new trainers kind of mess up on is they don't want to see their student fail. They don't. It's like your child. Your student is kind of like your child. I'm not saying that they're kids and they act like kids. Well, some of them do. We all know some of these students act like kids, but I'm not saying that they act like kids all the time, but hey, you're kind of like that parent figure especially with your first few. You don't want to see them struggle. You don't want to see them mess up, and you're too much right beside them. Hey, turn the wheel now. Like when you're driving, hey, turn the wheel now. Turn it a little more. You're walking them through every turn step by step instead of letting them make their own decisions. When the test comes around, they have to make their own decisions for the test. Now, at the start, you're going to be guiding them through the turns and what to do and how to do it. And even in the back end, you're going to be walking next to the truck. But there has to be a point where you just walk back and then critique what they do. Let them make their own decision, whether it be, hey, you did good or you did bad. And explain to them, hey, this is the part where you messed up. This is how to correct that. This is how we don't make this mistake again. Explain it to them. Don't just be walking beside the truck and they're about to turn the wheel the wrong way whenever they're backing. They're about to turn the wheel the wrong way and you're like, hey, turn it the other way. Turn it right. Turn it right. That's not helping them being able to see that they made a mistake in a wheel turn and turned the wrong way. That's what's going to help them at the end of the day, is learning from their mistakes. Also, with that being said, when you're out there on the backing pad, you don't want them to do a maneuver perfect every time, because if they do it perfect every time, they're not going to know how to fix it. They're not going to know how to pull up to fix it. They're just going to be like, that didn't happen in practice. Allow them to make mistakes so you can teach them how to fix it. Fixing a maneuver or fixing something on the test is going to go way further than them just freezing and not doing nothing because they're all like, I don't know what to do because I've never been in this situation. Training is a great time. It's a great experience to go through. It's you are changing somebody's life. And these are some of the most common things that I believe that new instructors and new trainers kind of don't understand yet, or they're going to have a hard time dealing with. And, it's you're brand new out there. Learn from each student you train and make yourself like your own toolbox. You're learning from each one. Let each one of them you learn something from carry you further along. Don't take it as, man, that student was bad, I'm glad he's off the truck. Learn from what happened that was so bad. Were you too lax in your rules? Was like, what happened? What was so bad about it? Because 9 times out of 10 it's because of something that you're going to do with your next guy differently. Like I had a guy that, like, I didn't tell him nothing about cell phones, and he was on his cell phone a lot. So like I had to throw out the cell phone rule with my next people. I'm all like, hey, no cell phones if the truck's on. No cell phones if your status is on duty. And another thing with cell phones is that people are now taking cell phones and recording everything. So like they get mad at you and they're going to try to record something so they can get off your truck. I mean, the good thing is if you're not doing nothing wrong, you have nothing to worry about that. But I've seen so many videos of like trainers not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're videoing all kinds of stuff that's happening. At the end of the day, should that stuff have been happening? Should the truck have been that dirty, or should the trainer have been eating a bowl of cereal driving down the road, or whatever the case may be? It shouldn't have happened in the first place, because when you're the one driving, or when you're the one doing some work out there, that student is like a sponge. He is absorbing everything he sees. So when you're driving, he's taking in everything you're doing. He's watching how you're doing it. He's checking the mirror, seeing what's going on. He is trying to learn everything he can from what you're doing. If you're over there having some bad habits, it's time to get it stopped. So we're not passing that on to our students to make the same bad habits that you have. I say whenever you train somebody, you should practice what you preach. If I tell my student, hey, I want you to drive like this, then whenever I'm driving like that. And if I tell my student that I want him to check the mirrors every 5 to 7 seconds, believe me, when he sees me drive, I'm checking my mirror every 5 to 7 seconds to make sure that nothing's going on that's going to become an issue later on. Like I'm making sure like the car coming up beside me ain't swerving. I'm making sure my trailer's in the lane. Like I'm checking my mirrors. I'm being safe. People are sponges, especially whenever they're brand new and they're coming in here. They start off as a sponge and they soak up every bit of information they can during that time. But this is just the 3 things that I think most trainers kind of struggle with. So I'm out of here until next time. If you want to see my latest videos that I came out with, there's going to be one right here. And hey, guys, be safe out there. Like, comment, and subscribe. I hope that I helped out some guys that are thinking about training, or maybe even just gave you some tips